Okay, gents, here we are, last video that deals with solving quadratic equations. Notice that we always need one side here to be equal to 0. This has to be the case, especially if we're going to factor. The whole concept of factoring, remember, revolves around the idea that we've got two factors that equal 0. So if I set equal to 0, then the entire left side of the equation will equal 0. That's the main idea. So let's go. So first step when solving this is to determine, we want to find two numbers that multiply to the a and c value. Okay, so it's the a and c value that we're going to decompose with. So that's 2 times -4 equals -8. Those two numbers, okay, multiply to -8, also equal -7. Okay, they need to add to -7. That way, we're going to decompose, so to speak, the middle term -7. So those two numbers, let's try to figure them out, are going to be -8 and +1. -8 and +1 works. So let's go ahead, let's write this out. So that's 2x squared. I'm going to say minus 8x minus x minus 4 equals 0. So the middle term of -7 has now been decomposed into -8 plus 1. Forgive me for that. Moving on. Now we're going to group some terms. So to group the terms, we're going to group the first two, and we're going to group the second two terms. The first two terms grouped, we need to common factor each group. Okay, so that's the second step here is common factor each group. So in the first group, the common factor will be 2x, and 2x multiplied by x is 2x squared, and this is going to be -4. And in the second group, okay, the idea of the grouping is that we need to have a common factor within each group. Okay, and so in the second case, I see here I've got an x minus 4. There's no common term there, so we're just going to factor out a +1. Okay, the most common error I see you guys make is you forget this. Okay, you forget that right there. Do not forget that this is still added. Okay, these two groups are added together. Okay, this is an expression. It's added. If it's subtracted, it's subtracted. It's never multiplied. Sometimes guys just want to multiply things together. No, this is added. So the group here is I'm taking out a common factor of 1, which is all that's there, and I got x minus 4. Okay, now the thing to note here is that you've got x minus 4 in each term. Okay, note I've got 2x times x minus 4 plus 1 times x minus 4. So I can see that I have an x minus 4 in this expression and an x minus 4 in that expression. It's the same as if we were to factor ax plus bx. What would I factor out? I'd factor out the x, because it's common in both. And then I'd be left with a plus b. Well, in this case, the x minus 4 is that x. So let's go ahead and factor that out. I'll do that in black. So I factor out an x minus 4 from both terms. And what's left over? Well, x minus 4 times 2x gives me the left side. And x minus 4 times plus 1 gives me the right side. So now I've got the factors. X minus 4 times 2x plus 1. If I were to expand this expression, I should get 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. -4 times 1, bingo. 2x times x is 2x squared. And I've got here 2x times -4, -8. And x times 1 is 1x, -8 plus x is 7x. Perfect. At this stage now we're going to set each bracket equal to 0. So x minus 4 equals 0. Solution is 4. If I were to plug in 4 into this equation, I get 0 times 9. 0 times 9 is 0. The next bracket we're going to solve. So this is the first solution. And the next solution is 2x plus 1 equals 0, and this is going to be x equals negative 1/2. Okay, that's our second solution. These solutions mean that when I plug in, or when x is 4, this expression or this function equals 0. When x equals negative 1/2, this expression is 0. Okay? So once again, let's review. Step 1, determine two numbers, okay, that multiply to a times c. Usually we just check at c because the coefficient of x squared is 1. In this case, it's not 1, so we need to multiply both of them together. The second stage is to common factor each group. Okay. The third stage is to factor that common factor, which we've created x minus 4 here, okay, out of each group. And then there is your final answer. Set each bracket to 0 and solve. Okay, so set each factor to 0 and solve. Okay, note the solution here. Okay, I bring the positive 1 over, becomes negative 1. I divide by the coefficient on x. It's going to be the same every time, guys. Okay, good job. Keep working hard.